When you go down more than 10 pant sizes in a year, you learn a thing or two about shopping. I thought I'd share a few tips and tricks today about dressing your body while it's changing on a weight loss journey. Today I thought I'd take you on a little field trip into the place where the magic happens in my house, otherwise known as my closet. Come on, let's go. My closet has become my happy place over the past 2 years. A little backstory, if you're new here, I'm Megan. I have lost 125 pounds using compounded tirzepatide and a whole lot of hard work. Before I started on this weight loss journey, I was probably like many of you, where I hated getting dressed every day. So I thought today I would just share a little about dressing myself and what that looked like before I lost weight, and then dressing myself throughout this journey of losing 125 pounds. I lost 100 pounds in 10 months, so losing 10 pounds a month is pretty big, and I was going through sizes like hotcakes. I was changing sizes so much that I never knew what was gonna fit me. So I thought I'd share a little bit about that and then tell you about what my closet looks like now and how I have fun with taking care of myself and dressing this new body that I'm in. I was 243 pounds and wearing a size 2X. I was stuffing myself into a size 2X and I probably needed a bigger size. I had just a few clothes, just enough to get me by. I had a few pairs of leggings, a couple of t-shirts and tanks, and then like one dress. I had so few clothes that my husband and I had a tiny little closet at our old house. Here in Texas, what you would consider like a coat closet. And my husband took up 3/4 of the closet and I had the tiniest little section of it. So much so that when we moved, our realtor and our stager were in the house and they were like, "Where are your clothes? Because this house is not gonna sell because you don't have women's clothes in the closet and you can't show that this closet is good enough for women's clothes." And I didn't have any because I could barely get dressed. Just as an example of what my wardrobe looked like at the time, for my 37th birthday, we drove out to West Texas to the McDonald's Observatory. It was a bucket list item for me where you can go and see the stars. It is beautiful, it is magical, it is amazing. Well, we went to a winery on the day of my birthday and I dressed up here in leggings, my Target slides, and my Target tank top. And it is just baffling to me that that's what I thought to put on this day. Mind you, my birthday is at the end of May. It was about 105 degrees out there. I never wore shorts. I never wore skirts. I hated showing my legs. The only time I wore dresses was in the winter when I could wear leggings under my dress. I just have to look back at that and I feel so sad for myself. I had gotten to such a low point where I would wear pajamas and my pajamas were my clothes were my pajamas. There was no distinguishable difference between the two. I'm a homeschool mom. I pretty much hang out at home with my kids all day and I didn't really see the need to get dressed. I had gotten to such a low point where, because I wasn't changing my clothes, I didn't have that trigger of getting ready in the morning. So I wasn't even brushing my teeth sometimes. And I had gotten a lot of cavities. That was kind of like during COVID times, just kind of all self-care lapsed. And I had a lot of cavities after that I had to go get filled because I just was taking such poor care of myself. I was doing the bare minimum, if that, really not even. It's crazy to me now to think of how things have changed. So I have lost 125 pounds, but I want to be clear that I have not started taking better care of myself because I lost weight. I don't love myself more now that I'm in this smaller body. It's not just because it's more fun to get dressed in smaller sizes. I really lost weight because I started taking care of myself. I started taking care of myself and really changing how I was operating in this world and putting myself first a couple of years before I even started a GLP-1 and started on this weight loss journey. It definitely was required for me. I had to think that I was worth it and I had to put the time and the effort and the money into taking care of myself before I could be open to the idea of paying hundreds of dollars a month for a medication to help get myself healthy and to help finally lose the weight. So thinking about the old me, I just hated the idea of buying clothes. I hated it. I hated it. I would do a Target pickup in a 2X because that was what I thought I needed, and I would just wear those clothes. I never really cared that they didn't fit me great, that they weren't flattering, they were in ugly colors. I didn't care whatever they had. That's just what I got. It's funny because I wasn't always like that. I have always been interested in clothes and fashion. In a previous life, I produced fashion shows. So it is just comical to me how far down I went and that I didn't even realize what a problem that was. Like, it never occurred to me that this was different and a change and maybe something that I needed to think about, because it just kind of gradually happened over time and I didn't really see it. Now looking at it in hindsight, I can see just the sadness on my face in these clothes. I do feel sadness for myself about that. I don't know what it was in me that really sparked wanting to change my outside appearance with the clothes, but it definitely happened before any weight loss happened. It happened way before that. So a couple of years ago, I heard a podcast and it had an author on the podcast. Her name is Eve Rodsky, and she wrote a book called Fair Play. There's also a documentary and there's a little card deck that we have too, but this book pretty much changed my life. If you are in the thick of motherhood, if you are working, taking care of kids, and sharing responsibilities around the house, this is a life-changing book. I cannot recommend it more. My husband has been the breadwinner in our home since I decided to stay home with our first daughter after she was born. I had fully planned to go back to work, but once I brought her home, I got home, I sat on the couch and I literally just started bawling and decided I could never ever go back to work again. It just wasn't for me. I could not do it. I did try off and on working part-time for a couple of years, and eventually once I had more kids and decided to homeschool, being home is the best place for me. I took on all of the housekeeping and cooking and also homeschooling our children. And my husband works very hard. He has a tech job, and so he works super hard for our family too. But I had really just lost touch with my fun side and what it meant to be not just a mom and a wife and a homemaker. Reading the book Fair Play gave me the opportunity to do that. The book talks about not divvying up responsibilities in like a 50-50 way, but just making sure that everybody's on board and that we're communicating about it so that it feels fair. And that fair means that we're not just having time just for all of those responsibilities, but we also have time for fun. So in the book, she talks about something she calls unicorn space, where you take time to be creative and do something fun, not to make money or have a side hustle, but just for yourself. I had an online business for many years, and while it started out as fun, it definitely became work, and it wasn't fun to me anymore. So I was really lacking any fun in my life. So I went and signed up for a pottery class. I took a pottery class and it was amazing. I was terrible at it. I was so bad, and it didn't matter. My teachers were encouraging, they were great, and it was awesome, and I loved doing it. I took it for several semesters, and that was really like the first foray into finding myself again. When I took that pottery class, it was uncomfortable. If you are almost 250 pounds sitting on a tiny little pottery stool, I had to get a bigger stool because the stools are real tiny. I also couldn't take my wedding ring off. It was stuck on my finger, and they don't allow jewelry, so I had to talk to my teacher and make sure to tell them, hey, I'm gonna be wearing my wedding ring because it won't come off. I'm too fat. They were perfectly understanding about it, but I pushed through the uncomfortableness of that class and doing something new, and I came out a different person. I came out a person who cared about myself and wanted to do more for myself. Getting that little taste of doing something just for me was such an eye-opening experience and something I'm so grateful for. So once I did that, it just kind of snowballed into all sorts of other things that I started doing for myself. I started hanging out with friends again. I started started taking walks. I started going to get my eyebrows waxed. I went and I got a pedicure. And these are things that I hadn't done in years, maybe over a decade since I had kids. And I started doing these little things for myself. Every little thing I did, even every time I brushed my teeth, every time I washed my face at night instead of going to bed with makeup on, every time I bought makeup instead of using old crusty makeup from 5 years ago. All of these little things just added up into me knowing that I was worth it and I was worthy of the time and the effort that I gave to everybody else in my life. I am a good mom. I'm a good wife. I'm a good friend. I'm a good neighbor. And I could do all these things for other people. And then when it came to myself, I didn't feel like I was worth it. So once I started to know that, hey, I'm worth it too, and started taking care of myself, then I wanted to dress the part of somebody who actually cares about themselves. I had all these clothes, that didn't fit me and were ugly and just were whatever I could find with zero intention put behind them. So I signed up for Stitch Fix. I was wearing one of the outfits from one of my Stitch Fix boxes when I hit rock bottom, when I was at the Cincinnati Zoo with my kids in a super humid August afternoon and decided that I had to do something to lose weight because I just could not go on like that anymore. That's when I called my doctor, and within a week I was starting on compounded tirzepatide. Being on a weight loss medication absolutely changed my life. I started losing weight pretty quickly, and before I knew it, all of the clothes that I had gotten from Stitch Fix were way too big. Of course, I went out and I started shopping, and I bought a bunch of stuff from Loft. I got some stuff from J. Crew and started buying some new clothes. I quickly realized that when you're losing on average 10 pounds a month and going down about a pant size for every 10 pounds, buying a whole new wardrobe for every size that I was going to hit was not just out of my budget, but kind of wasteful and ridiculous. I quickly realized I had to figure something else out. I had one of my good friends take me to a resale store, and we went shopping and found some cute stuff. And that's when I really fell in love with thrifting. And thrifting is such an amazing thing, especially if you're on a weight loss journey, because you can find clothes that fit your body. I loved thrifting on my weight loss journey because you can find clothes. Number one, they're like pre-shrunk. So how it fits when you try it on in the store is how it's going to fit you. You don't have to worry about it shrinking or anything once you wash it. And really, you aren't going to need that much use out of these clothes. So I want to spend as little as possible. We have a really great Goodwill near here, so I often go to Goodwill. They have 50% off one color every week. We also have a Salvation Army that does 50% off on Wednesdays. So I usually try to get clothes just as cheap as I possibly can. When I need a little bit nicer clothes, or if I'm looking for something specific, we do have other secondhand stores that I love to go to. We have a Clothes Mentor, that's a national chain that is really awesome too. We also have an Uptown Cheapskate, and then we have another secondhand, more high-end boutique that has designer clothes and more name brand clothes. Once I got toward the end of my journey, when I knew I was going to be sticking to a size for a little bit longer than just like a month or so, I did start shopping more at those secondhand stores versus Goodwill for a little bit higher quality pieces that I could keep and enjoy for some time. Now that I have lost 125 pounds and reached kind of my final size, I get so much joy out of dressing every day, and dressing kind of as an extension of my personality. When I was carrying around 100+ pounds, I was obviously the same person, but it's hard to explain unless you've been there, that your personality is impacted. That I was different because I was trying to hide from the world. I did everything in my power not to stand out. I didn't want people to look at me. I didn't want new people to want to meet me. I didn't want old friends to say hi to me if I saw someone at the grocery store. It was a whole scheme of my life to try to blend in and be as small as possible in this supersized body. Once I let that go and I realized just because I have a large body does not mean that I don't deserve to take up more space with my personality, that the space that my body takes up does not mean that my personality can't also take up space. And I think that's what I was trying to do. My personality was shrinking and shrinking with every pound that I was gaining and gaining. Once I had enough self-love and self-worth, I started coming back to myself and I started being more of the me that I've always had inside and that I knew I was and that I previously have been, and really the me that I still was around family and very good friends. And it is nice to be able to share that with the world. When I started on this journey, I started dressing in a way that just made me happy. I started wearing bright colors, where previously I was wearing black and brown and tan, and honestly those are like just the worst, most drab colors for pretty much anybody. But I started wearing brighter colors, I started wearing prints, I started wearing things that made me feel good. I remember this skirt that I wore and I just felt like $1,000,000 in this skirt. I was still 243 pounds. I hadn't lost a pound, but I felt good because I was dressing the body that I had and I was taking care of myself. And I wasn't just trying to blend in. I wasn't trying to just wear my pajamas because I'm home all day. I started thinking, you know what? Being home all day is not a reason that I can't wear what I want, even if what I want to wear is a skirt. You don't have to have a reason to get dressed up in a skirt. You could stay home and wear a skirt. And so now I have a closet full of clothes that make me so happy. One thing about shopping for new clothes when you are dressing a changing body is that you have to go in with an open mind. I thought I knew how to dress my body before. My body before was much smaller on top than it was on the bottom. I had a very large booty. I've always had a more defined waist, even when my waist was 40 inches, but it was definitely always more defined, but my bottom half was very large and my top half was a little bit smaller. So if I was gonna wear a dress, it was always going to be one that was more fitted on the top and then had an A-line skirt where it was going out over my hips and covering my booty. I could not wear anything that was more rectangular or anything that was more form-fitting because it just did not work with my body. As I started losing weight, I didn't just lose weight, my body completely changed shape. I will have to do a whole separate video about the weird ways that my body changed because the body I have now is it's just a completely different shape. So I was dressing for this booty, and even after I had lost like 50, 60 pounds, I was still dressing that body. It took a long time for me to catch up with realizing, oh, I need to adjust the kinds of clothes that I'm wearing because my body is changing. So when I started going into thrift stores with a complete open mind, if I liked the fabric on something, if I liked the pattern or the color, if I liked how it looked on the hanger, I would try it on, even if I thought there's absolutely no way I'm gonna look good in that. That's not the style that I can wear. If I thought there's no way that's gonna fit, because in a thrift store, you cannot count on the size on the tag. Even now, I look at extra small, small, medium, large. I am looking all over the store and I find things all over the store. So don't let the size on a tag be a limiting factor. I really have to hold things up and see what it looks like and see if it looks like it's gonna fit. All along the weight loss journey, you're gonna have to do that and kind of adjust it for where you are now because you don't know your body that great when it's changing every single day. When I go into a thrift store, I have a few things that I look at. I prefer natural fibers, so I look for cotton, linen, things like that. I definitely make exceptions for things like sequins. I have a lot of sequins in my closet because sequins make me happy. Do I have a lot of places to wear sequins as a stay-at-home, homeschool mom? No, but I'm prepared for the time when sequins are acceptable. And really, it happens more often than I would think. So I wore sequins on the Downsized cruise recently. I wore sequins to the Shakira concert that actually got canceled and we never got to go to because she didn't actually do her show, but we were dressed in downtown and ready to go, and I was in my sequence. We ended up going to the grocery store instead and got donuts for my kids' swim meet and bananas for breakfast. And again, you don't need anywhere fancy to wear your sequins. You can just dress up in your house and do dishes in sequins if it makes you happy. Once I started being more open-minded and trying on different types of clothes, I started realizing that all of the rules that I had for dressing my old body did not apply to dressing this new body. Nowadays, I can wear a bodycon dress and it fits my body just fine. It fits my body great. I can wear a pencil skirt. I never ever could have done that before, and now I can. So be open-minded when you're shopping, and you might be surprised at what you find and feel good at. When I try on clothes, when I'm thrifting or anywhere at a store, I go by the face test. Okay, so here's what you do. You put on your clothes, you try it on, and then you just strike a little pose and you see how it goes. And if your face lights up like you're having the best time, then you feel good in what you're wearing, and it's a keeper. If it's like, okay, I don't like the way that looks, I'm not so sure. If your face is just like that, it's a no-go. And with thrifting, you have to have that open mind that you could go in and find nothing, or you could go in and find 10 things. So for me, that's just an excuse to go more often. I definitely go at least once a week and have throughout my weight loss journey so that I can find good pieces. I did start shopping ahead. Once I realized that I was going to keep losing weight, that it wasn't going to stop working, I did buy a few things that were in a little bit smaller sizes. Like if I saw something I absolutely loved, I would buy something in a smaller size. I didn't do it often, and I'm glad I didn't, because at least half the time I would either skip that size and just completely pass over it for another smaller size and that thing was too big, or I would forget about it and then never actually wear it. So I tried to just dress for the body that I have today. I use the face test to make sure that I'm feeling really good in my clothes. I try to be open-minded so that I find new things that maybe I wouldn't have expected at first. And thrifting can be so fun, way better for your wallet, and just an overall awesome thing to do while you're on your weight loss journey, so that you can infuse a little bit of your personality into what you're wearing, because hopefully as you're taking better care of yourself and learning to love yourself even more, that you want to share that with the world. Okay, I thought I would show you a few of my favorite things that I thrifted. Okay, so first of all, I have my workout clothes that I organize here. And I did buy a lot of workout clothes new at the beginning because I wanted to be able to expect what size I was getting. And workout clothes, there's a lot of variation in the sizes, and I was changing sizes so frequently. So I did Old Navy workout clothes. I started at a 2X and went all the way down to a size small, but I like to see my workout clothes, so I organize them on these hangers so that I can see everything and pick my colors. I do change out my colors with the season, so I have brights and pastels for spring and summer, and then I'll transition to jewel tones and more fall colors for the fall and the winter. Something that I never wore before, because I never wanted to make myself look bigger or more bulky than I was a layering piece. I would just wear my leggings and a tank, and now I know that adding a layering piece to your outfit adds so much pizzazz to it. So I have a whole section with just fun layering pieces. So I have like just a button-down shirt, and this one's super cute. It's J. Crew and has cheetahs on it, or just a nice, this one needs to be steamed, but just a white linen blazer, or doing something just like totally classic for spring and summer, like this striped button-down. So I'll wear these on their own or with a tank or a t-shirt. I also have a lot of fun, just like little jackets. So like this denim cute top that has, you know, it's not just like any, like a denim jacket. Like it's got just some fun details on it. I love having all these different options for just spicing up my outfits and feeling good in them. So I already talked about sequins and how I'm not afraid to have dressier items, even though most of my life is pretty darn casual. I do like to have dressier items available, so for when the opportunity arises, but I also am not afraid to just wear a dressier item on a regular day to take my kids to music class or take them to a different activity. So I will have things like these shorts, and these could work for the holidays. They could work paired it with a t-shirt and sneakers and make it more casual. I try to have like lots of different options. Another good tip for thrifting and making the most out of your wardrobe while you're changing sizes is to not get set and wearing like one bottom with one top, but be willing to mix and match. So any of my tops I can wear with any number of bottoms. You can change the whole look of an outfit by just changing the layering piece. You can also add shoes and accessories to change the look, and it's really fun to just mix and match your outfits in that way. When I was going down in sizes pretty quickly, I did try to look for clothes that could maybe last a little bit longer. So like this dress is an example of one that I wore when I was probably 190 pounds, and I can still wear it now at 118 pounds because it has a belt, it has elastic. I just added like a little safety pin right here, and it's supposed to be kind of oversized and flowy, and it looks good even now. I know clothes are not everyone's thing, so thanks for watching and thanks for being here. I hope that this video has been helpful if you are on a weight loss journey and learning how to dress a body that is changing and doing different things all the time. And I would love to hear from you. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that would be amazing so that we can stay in touch. Leave me a comment and let me know if you have any tips and tricks for shopping after weight loss. Let me know in a comment so that I can cheer you on.